There's a poll, a Gallup survey that was taken, listen, with 20,392 people with a margin of error of plus or minus 1. That's about as big a sampling and as tight a margin of error as you can get. And the survey was done in December of 11. It said 35% of Americans, 40% of Americans consider themselves conservative, 35 moderate, and 21 liberal. Cenk has been touting a poll that shows that so many of the country see themselves as progressive. I've always said to Cenk, I think that so many people who are polled don't know what progressive means. They hear the words liberal and conservative and they still know those words. They're not as familiar with the word progressive because it doesn't sound right to me. In any case, this Gallup survey, which seems as foolproof as a survey could be, says 40% of Americans find themselves as conservative. What's very interesting is that the Democratic Party is more split than the Republicans, obviously. 71% self-identified conservatives dominate the Republicans. 71% are self-identified conservatives. 39 Democrats view themselves as liberal and 38 consider themselves moderate. It just shows how difficult it is. You know, we sit here and we criticize the president. Man, there's a lot to criticize him about. We sit and criticize him. It is much more difficult to be the head of the Democratic Party than it is to be the head of the Republican Party. The dominoes just fall into place when you are the head of the Republican Party. When you're the head of the Democrat Party, you have a lot more people to appease. Of course, Obama's not doing a tremendously good job of doing that, but it's much more difficult to navigate those seas. But it doesn't matter, I don't think, because another poll shows us that people don't have a clue what is going on in 2012. Half of the people surveyed in a new poll said 53% correctly answered Massachusetts when asked where Mitt Romney was from. 45% of voters were able to identify South Carolina. These are all registered voters as the state where the next primary will be held. And 44% identified Ron Paul as the GOP hopeful who opposes U.S. involvement in Afghanistan. Now, 69% of voters gave the correct answer of Newt Gingrich when asked which of the GOP candidates once served as the House Speaker. So I guess that's important. It's a Pew Research Center poll. This is interesting, too. Among Republican and Republican-leaning voters, Tea Partiers proved to be far more knowledgeable about the GOP candidates in 2012. That doesn't surprise anyone, but it's still important.